So, I welcome you back to this series of lectures on rhetoric. Today, we'll be dealing with synecdoche. So, synecdoche, in order to understand synecdoche, I will give you the definition of synecdoche a bit later. We need to first understand what synecdoche is all about. So, in order to understand what synecdoche is, we need to remember this particular formula that I have actually mentioned on the board. The formula is SAPIM, SAPIM. Each and every alphabet in this particular formula has a separate category, and that is the reason why synecdoche as well as metonymy are a bit difficult to grasp but not impossible. So we will try to make this particular process of understanding synecdoche a bit easy. So in order to remember synecdoche, you need to remember this particular formula, and the formula is SAPIM. So we will be starting with the first alphabet, that is S. So as you can see on board, I have written down the first category is species for the genus. The first category is species for the genus. Okay. Now I have given two examples here. So let us first go through the examples and we will understand what species means and what genus is. Okay. So the first example that I have mentioned here is silver and gold, I have none. Silver and gold, I have none. Okay, and if you can see properly, I have underlined silver and gold. Okay, so silver and gold is actually species. They fall under the category of species, because silver and gold together means something. What is that? You can see I have written down the meaning too. Both silver and gold means riches. Okay, so if I say that he has a lot of silver and gold, that means he is a rich man. Okay, so species, what is species? Silver and gold is actually an example of species. And what is genus? The thing that species signify, that is riches. Okay, so silver and gold here stands for species and genus is riches. So let us follow the second example that I have mentioned here. Man does not live by bread alone. Man does not live by bread alone. Okay, now definitely we all do not eat bread even in our lunch or dinner. Some people might do that, but we Indian families very rarely have bread in our lunch and dinner. It's more a kind of a continental dish. If you ever go to New Delhi via Rajdhani Express, you will find this continental dish with breads being provided to you at your dinner time. Okay, so man does not live by bread. Here, species is the bread, and it stands for food. That means man does not live by food alone. Food is not the only necessary thing that a man requires. Man does not live by bread alone. So bread is here the species and food is the genus here. So this is what species for genus means. Okay. Now we go to the second category, second alphabet, that is A. As you know, the formula is SAPIM, SAPIM. So the second category that we will have is abstract for the concrete and concrete for the abstract. This is the second category that we have. Okay. If you can go through the formula is SAPIM, SAPIM. We have already completed the alphabet S. Now we have come to the alphabet A. A stands for abstract for the concrete slash concrete for the abstract. So there are two categories in A. Okay, there are two categories in A. Abstract for the concrete and concrete for the abstract. Now let us first remind you what is the meaning, what is the denotative meaning of abstract. What do you mean by the term abstract? Now abstract is something that can be felt. Abstract is some sort of a feeling, sadness, happiness. Okay, feelings that you cannot touch, you can just feel, as we have just discussed. And what is concrete? Concrete means something that can be touched. Okay, so abstract for the concrete means in a particular sentence an abstract word will be used, a word which deals with feeling, but the meaning that comes out of that abstract word is concrete. Okay, the meaning that comes out of that abstract word will be concrete. And similar is the case with concrete for the abstract. In concrete for the abstract, a particular sentence will have a concrete word. And ultimately that concrete word will imply something abstract. So let us start with an example. I have given you two examples since there are two categories here. Let us first start with concrete for the abstract. So what do you mean by concrete for the abstract? The sentence will contain a concrete word. Concrete means one that can be touched. Okay. But the meaning that comes out of it will be one of feeling, one of abstractness. Okay. So I see a lily on your face. I see a lily on your face. Actually, the original sentence was, I see a lily on thy face, taken from John Keats's poem. But for your understanding, I have just simplified it. I see a lily on your face. Okay, this is an example of concrete for the abstract. Now, you can ask me why this particular sentence is an example of concrete for the abstract, because here you will find no abstract word in the sentence. I is something that can be touched, see is a verb, a is an article, lily is a flower, a concrete thing, on is a preposition, your possession, face is again concrete. That means here in this particular sentence you do not find any concrete word. Okay, so you here in this particular sentence you do not find any abstract word which means feeling. Okay, so that means this is an example of concrete for the abstract. As you can see from the example itself, I have underlined the word lily. Lily is a flower. I see a lily on your face. Now that does not translate as मैं तुम्हारे चेहरे पे लिली का फूल देख रहा हूँ. That is not the translation that the writer has actually meant, or what the writer actually means. What he means is something abstract. What is that? Lily is a flower, and it is actually a white flower. Lily is a flower, but what color? It is white in color. And white flower stands for paleness. Paleness. Now paleness means चेहरे का रंग उड़ा होना, चेहरे का रंग फीका पड़ जाना. ठीक है. Now just imagine the day you are going to give your exams, written exams, in a particularly different college altogether. You are very afraid. ठीक है. तुम्हारे चेहरे का रंग उड़ जाता है. And it is only your family members who can realize the reason behind it. ठीक है. सिर्फ उन्हीं को पता चलता है कि तुम्हारे चेहरे पे लिली दिखाई दे रही है. So lily stands for paleness. Paleness is something which is abstract. Now that does not mean कि তোমরা নিজের মুখের উপরে সাদা পেইন্ট করে ট্রেনে বসে পরীক্ষা দিতে যাও যাতে সবাই জানতে পারে যে আমার মুখের রংটা উড়ে গেছে. That is not the case. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आप लोग अपने चेहरे पे सफेद पेंट करके जाते हैं. अगर पेंट करके जाते तो वो कॉन्क्रीट हो जाता. but we are talking of an abstract quality. So lily is a concrete word, but the meaning that comes out of lily is one of feeling, paleness. Paleness is something that can be felt, it can never be touched. So this particular line is an example of concrete for the abstract. Okay. Now we come to the first category, abstract for the concrete. Abstract for the concrete means in a particular sentence a particular abstract word will be a given. ठीक है, एक सेंटेंस में एब्स्ट्रैक्ट वर्ड होगा लेकिन उसका जो मीनिंग निकलेगा दैट विल बी अ कॉन्क्रीट मीनिंग. ओके, लेट अस गो थ्रू एन एग्जांपल. Tyranny is dead. Tyranny is dead. We usually write this particular sentence, but we know from our historical records that people who are dictators, people who actually oppress people, are actually called tyrant. Tyrant means one who is a dictator, who oppresses people with force, with the help of his machinery, military, policing, administrative machinery. So he or she is actually a tyrant, and we know that very well. But if you go through the sentence, you will find that I haven't used the word tyrant. I have used the word tyranny. Tyranny means oppression. Okay, so tyranny is actually an abstract word, that we are all oppressed. I am oppressed. Someone else might not be oppressed in the present scenario. He might think himself to be free, but I feel that I am oppressed in this particular scenario. So oppression or tyranny is an abstract feeling that we all possess. You might think that you are under no tyranny as such, but my point of view might be that I am under a kind of a tyrannical government. Okay, so when I use the word tyranny, I means oppression, and this is an abstract word. Ultimately, what I want to mean is that I do not like this particular person as the king or as a tyrant, because he is behaving like a tyrant. He or she is behaving like a tyrant, whoever he or she is. Okay, so tyrant is a concrete person. You can touch that tyrant if you could ever reach him. Okay, there is a condition to it. If you can reach that particular man and if you can touch him, and then you will realize that he is a concrete human being. Okay, you don't need to touch him, by the way. We regularly see each and everyone on television sets, so that means they are concrete. So tyranny is dead. What I want to mean is the tyrant is dead. Okay, so an abstract word has been used to mean a concrete thing. Tyrant. Tyranny has been used to mean the word tyrant. Okay, so this is the second category that we have. I hope this is clear to you. Now we move on to the third alphabet that we have, that is P. Okay, so we need to write it down. The third category will be part for the whole, part, P-A-R-T, part for the whole, W-H-O-L-E, slash whole for the part, W-H-O-L-E again, part for the whole, slash whole for the part, P-A-R-T. Okay, now we will write down certain sentences regarding that third alphabet that we have. So part for the whole and whole for the part. Part for the whole, as you can know from the very sentence itself, the meaning is very clear. In the given sentence, a part of something will be given, but it will stand for the whole, W-H-O-L-E. And again, in a given sentence, whole thing will be provided, but will mean just a part of it. So let us go through the examples first. These are some of the most, these are some of the easiest of categories. 10 hands are working on the field. 10 hands are working on the field. Okay, so how many hands are working on the field? There are 10 hands. So if I ask you how many people are working on the field, how many people are working on the field? If your answer is 10 people, then you are actually wrong. And I too have done the same mistake. So what we need to write here is 10 hand. इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी है कि सबका एक हाथ कटा हुआ है, ठीक है. 10 हाथ मतलब 10 लोग कैसे होंगे? Because each and every human being has 2 hands. Okay, that means the answer will be how many people are working? There are 5 people working on the field. There are 5 people working on the field. Okay, so 10 hands are working on the field. So this is an example of part for the whole. I have mentioned 10 hands, and hands are just parts of our body. They are not the whole thing. So this sentence is an example of part for the whole. Okay, this sentence is an example of part for the whole, where a part will be given which will stand for the whole, WHOLE. Okay, now we come to the second sentence. India won the World Cup. India won the World Cup. Now we have used India. India is a land of the second largest population that we have in the whole world after China. Did the whole of India win the World Cup? No. The Indian cricket team, which comprises 15 members, they won the World Cup. But newspaper articles usually carry this particular sentence: India won the World Cup. So India here stands for whole, WHOLE, but it means just a part of it, the Indian cricket team. We are not speaking of the Indian population. Now we haven't gone to some other country and won World Cups. It's the Indian cricket team who has done this. Okay, so this is an example of whole for the part. India is an example of whole, and Indian cricket team is an example of part, PART. Okay, so the fourth category is I, individual for the class. Now in this particular category, a particular famous individual will be mentioned in the sentence. You need to find out his or her class. Okay, now individual for the class. Suppose the first example that I have given you here is, he is no Virat Kohli. He is no Virat Kohli, and I have underlined a famous personality here, Virat Kohli. So he is an individual. What is his class? Why is Virat Kohli, what is Virat Kohli known for? He is the best batsman in the world. So that is his class. So what was the heading? Individual for the class. So the second sentence, if you go through the a more literary one, in fact, he is no Shakespeare. So Shakespeare is a famous individual here. And what is his class? He is the best English playwright. Okay, he is the best English playwright. Now I particularly mention the word best English in a sense because there are other playwrights too in other different languages who are as great as Shakespeare. So he is the best English playwright. So he is no Shakespeare. Shakespeare is an individual and his class is a best English playwright. Okay, this is the fourth category that we have. Now we move on to the fifth category, and with that we will be ending synecdoche. The fifth category starts with the alphabet M. Okay, so the fifth category is material for the thing made. Okay, so material for the thing made means in a particular sentence you will be given the material. You have to guess what is that particular thing which is actually made of that particular material. Okay, so again let us go through the examples, because it is only through examples that you can come to a clear understanding of what I am trying to say. So let us go through the first example. He is dressed in cotton. He is dressed in cotton. Okay, so as you can see in this particular sentence, the material is cotton. He is dressed in cotton. So the material is cotton. And what is the thing made? Obviously he is dressed in cotton का मतलब अब ये तो नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ रुई लेके घूम रहा है, শুধু কটন চারপাশে ঘিরে সে ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছে. দ্যাট ইজ নট দ্য মিনিং অফ দিস পার্টিকুলার থিং. দ্য মিনিং ইজ দ্যাট হি ইজ ইন ক্লোথস মেড অফ কটন. সো দ্য থিং মেড ইজ ক্লোথস মেড অফ cotton. Similarly, in the second example, the criminal is bound in iron. As we have seen in Hollywood movies and in Bollywood movies, that the criminal is actually bound in iron chains, which in English properly is known as fetters, Fetters. But the sentence just contains a metal, the name of a particular metal. We do not find any reference to chain. The criminal is bound in iron. So iron, definitely he is not bound in iron. Iron is a metal. He is bound in chains made of iron. So the thing made is iron fetters. Okay, made of iron. So this is an example of material for the thing made. So I hope that this particular synecdoche is now clear to you, because miscape is also one long kind of a formula that you need to understand. So first let us recount. Sapim. S stands for species for the genus. A stands for abstract for the concrete / concrete for the abstract. P stands for part for the whole, or whole for the part. I stands for individual for the class. M stands for material for the thing made. Okay, so this is in short what synecdoche is. Now I will give you certain sentences again as assignments for a better understanding of synecdoche. Now these assignments are definitely a kind of a working into what synecdoche is all about. It is not a punishment given to you students, and I am really happy with the kind of response that you have given with all your assignments. I am really glad to have all your assignments on WhatsApp with your names and roll numbers. The names and roll numbers do matter for the attendance thing, but the most important thing is learning, and I am happy that you people have done it yourself, though I hope you have done it all yourself and you have understood those previous lessons, be it rhetoric or be it scansion that we are also going through simultaneously. So I will be giving you some sentences for another assignment on synecdoche now. Okay, so this is your assignment for today. Now remember that all of these sentences are actually example of synecdoche. What I want you to do is the 5 categories that we have just studied, species for the genus, abstract for the concrete, concrete for the abstract, part for the whole, whole for the part, individual for the class, and M, material for the thing made. What you will do is you will find out in which category these sentences fall. Okay, all of these are actually examples of synecdoche. You need to find out the category in which they fall. Okay, so the first sentence that we have given is, a Daniel is come to judgment. Okay, a Daniel is come to judgment. This line is actually taken from Merchant of Venice. A Daniel is come to judgment. Daniel was a very famous person if you go through Wikipedia. A Daniel is come to judgment, the first one. The second one, I am out of humanity's reach. I am out of humanity's reach. Now, this particular line is also taken from a poem, as far as I remember, The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, written by William Cooper. I am out of humanity's reach. The third is, there is a good deal of fox in his character. There is a good deal of fox in his character. Okay, you will find lots of people with fox in their character. So, coming back to the fourth line, no useless coffin enclosed his breast. No useless coffin enclosed his breast. 5. Grace this cold marble with a tear. Grace this cold marble with a tear. Marble, M-A-R-B-L-E. Okay. So these are the 5 sentences, and this will be your assignment for the coming week. And then we will be going to metonymy, and that will be our last class. I thought that we would be completing metonymy today itself, but it becomes very problematic because every time I need to just wipe off each and everything written on board and come up with the formula and write down those categories again and again. So very soon I will also be coming within this week itself. I need to complete figures of speech within this week. So I will be coming with metonymy this week. Hope you complete your assignments. You understand what these sentences are actually trying to say, and then search those categories under which they fall. Okay, with this, goodbye. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy your life and stay at home. Be safe and keep others safe. Tata.